And our first event is coming up to the start line. That's the Girlock Streetcar Scratch Race. Let's take a look at the top 12. On the front row of the grid, Stephen Bell, 66.13. Alongside him, Michael Elliott. The second row of the grid, Jeff Carling and Tony Banks. The third row of the grid, Peter Stein and Glenn Warren. The fourth row of the grid, Peter Langmaid and Andrew Cook. The fifth row of the grid, Max Freeland and Brian Gardner. And rounding out the top 12, Lee Sargent and Chris Ellis. Should be a beauty, Mike.
Certainly should, Neil. The cars lined up, problems with one of the escorts there, but officials moving out of the way as the rest of the field just grid up behind. A field of 20 cars. The split from the pole to the rear is about 10 seconds. Car number 42, Mike Elliott in the Mazda, sharing the front row with him. The pole setter, number 86, Stephen Bell, in the LJ Tirana. The little Mazda's been around a while. Car 42 being driven by Elliott. It's formerly from New South Wales. Was run at one stage by Peter Dane, the driver we saw last week in the Laser Series. There's car 79. That's Brian Gardner in the Tirana. Car 84 there, the little Escort, is Max Freeland. Rather unusual starting straight here at Symmons Plains as the horn goes for 30 seconds before the start. You can see they actually start on the curvature of the circuit coming up onto the starting straight. So the drivers have to be particularly careful as they drop the clutch after the national flag flies. They'll get their 10 seconds to go shortly. The national flag will be raised. The drivers will be off for their 5-lap journey around the 2.41 kilometre circuit. Just less now than 10 seconds remaining. You can see a portion of the huge crowd. The field roars away in their first of 5 laps, and getting a very nice jump in car 42 was Michael Elliott as the field streams through. But now the horsepower of the Tirana takes over. And Stephen Bell, oh, what a great sprint down to turn 1. I hope he can stop. So Bell in car number 86 into Brambles hairpin for the first time. He leads from Mike Elliott in the Mazda. Also a good start from Carling, Banks and Glenn Warren in the Escort. Heading down towards Goodyear Sweeper for the first time. And Bell is starting to run away with this one.
Stephen Bell's the lap record holder in this class down here at a time of 65.1. He qualified just outside that at 66.1. As he goes down to the braking area for Coke Corner for the first time. A very handy gap over Elliott, who gets sideways, and he's out of the boonies, and so is Bell. The two of them making an awful mess of that. There must be a little bit of oil up on the circuit. So Bell in strife. There goes the new leader, car number 71. Jeff Carling says thank you very much. And as he comes down the back past the pit area, Carling has a very handy gap. You can see Bell in the background there with his hand in the air. We lost the second place driver as well. So our new leader, Carling, in car number 71, the yellow Tirana, with a very handy gap coming through A&L Corner past the pit area and up to complete lap 1 and 4 remaining.
Just look at the traffic. Oh, there are 6s and 7s back behind him as they try and come beneath the bridge here. Oh, and Commodore very much sideways. But there's your race leader, Jeff Carling, in the Tirana, coming up to Brambles hairpin for the second time. But the battle is really on behind him. Starting to back right up behind the second place driver. Let's have a look at second place driver as we pick them up heading down towards the Goodyear Sweeper.
Car number 5, this is Tony Banks in the LC Tirana. And he's got quite a handy gap, as you can well see, over yet another Tirana. So it's the 6-cylinder XU1 benefit at the moment. I think the next car through then is one of the little Escorts. We had a glimpse of him there in the background in car 95. I think that's Peter Stein.
We're going down to Coca-Cola, the tight left-hander at the end of the sweeper. Race leader still Jeff Carling over car number 5, Tony Banks. And there's the gap. Our race leader, 71, Carling. Second spot still being held down by Banks and another Tirana. And then the rest of the field starting to close just a little on Carling.
Pretty unusual class of racing, this one down here for street sedans. You'll notice on the sides of some of these cars, they have their number and then a letter on the door. Letter being either R or S. For those cars carrying the S, they're actually what they call a super sedan down here, which means they're virtually a sports sedan like we'd see at, say, for example, the meeting at Amaroo Park last weekend, although they run on radial tyres, which would make them a bit of a handful. They're running on Goodyear tyres down here. It's part of the regulations. And those cars running with R on the side are the road-registered street sedans, and they must comply with the road regulations in Tasmania.
Yes, it was actually amazing to see so many of the cars coming to the circuit this morning. Usually you see them unloaded off trailers. This lot drove straight to the racetrack. There's a good scrap. Heading down to the left-hander. Hard on the brakes here. They go through that left-hander and then work their way down towards Besant Corner. coming out of the bend now, down towards the hump at Mazda. And the field definitely starting to pack up.
The man that went through into second position there, I think, was Andrew Coe in the purple Tirana. And slipping back into third place was Tony Banks. Gets a little sideways coming out of A&L corner past the pits. Having completed 3 laps with 2 remaining. Carling still managing to open up that very reasonable gap. And here's the battle again for second, with Banks trying to make a manoeuvre on the outside under brakes, but he falls back into line. Oops. Bit of a dodge and a weave under brakes. The corner drops well away from the driver there, as you can see. Difficult corner to get through.
Heading down towards the sweeper again at Goodyear. Car number 71, Jeff Carling, still well and truly in front, and probably has opened that by about 150 metres.
This is 4th place in the Escort, Peter Stein, car number 95. First of the Henrys in the field with the General Motors products in 1, 2 and 3. Locks the brake as he goes into Coca-Cola, gets a little out of shape.
Leading a little Escort round the corner.
He's got a fair old bunch of traffic behind him at the moment, so he's pushing pretty hard. And down the other end of the circuit, we've got our leader, Jeff Carling, car number 71. He's coming down past the pit corner, and here he is with now 1 lap remaining.
Well, you can see the gap that Carling has opened up over the rest of the field. As we mentioned, probably 150 metres, well clear at this stage, coming up to the hairpin, once again at Brambles. See how the car behaves through the turn. Very nicely. And he starts to stretch that lead as he works down now through Castrol straight to Goodyear sweeper. So at this stage, car number 71, Jeff Carling in the Tirana, has the race locked up. That's the Girlock streetcar scratch race over 5 laps.
Huge gap. Just get the clock on him. At last count, it was in excess of 15 seconds. An excellent job. As he goes down now to Coke Corner for the last time and coming around this very long left-hand sweeper, is the gap is still hovering at around about the 14-15 second mark. Carling from car number 18, Andrew Cuck. So it's Tiranas all the way.
On his way now to the checkered flag. Jeff Carling, car number 71, sweeps out of the last bend and acknowledges the checkered flag.
Car number 18 coming through, Andrew Cuck, and a good scrap for 3rd place, and just squeezing through in car 42 was Michael Elliott. He did a great job to recover. So Elliott in the little Mazda finally getting through. Top job from him, particularly in view of the fact that he had so much trouble there on the opening lap. Let's recap the placings for you on the Castrol scoreboard. After our first event, Jeff Carling, the winner in the Tirana. In 2nd place, Andrew Cuck, and rounding out the top 3 was Michael Elliott in the Mazda.
You know, buying a car is like racing a car. Your aim is to come out a winner.
Compare these similarly priced cars. Pulsar, Corolla, Laser. One comes out way in front. Only the Nissan Pulsar has as standard equipment a 1.5-litre engine, 5-speed manual transmission, and the largest hatch in its class. Your Nissan dealer is including air conditioning absolutely free during the Pulsar run-out. During Pulsar run-out, get a lot more car for a lot less money.
You just can't lose at your Nissan dealer.